How's it going, people? There was a new home-based status report that just dropped, so for today's video we're going to take a look at it. And like always, I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to go check it out. First thing they said was the Hexylvania Venture Season has returned and saved the world. This Venture Season sees the return of Dungeons, the Eclipse Nightmare, and Wolfie Business questlines. And the first thing they went over was the Hexylvania Venture Zone. And it says, do you feel that chill in the air? Hexylvania's mysterious energy is granting Husk a modifier that reduces their damage taken from weapons, abilities, and traps. How to combat these Hexylvanian husks? Use a short range modifier to make them take 50% more damage when within 2 tiles of a commander or a defender. There are treats amidst the Hexylvania tricks. Hexylvanian husks have a chance to drop healing potions when taken out at close range. Use these to keep you going in the fight. But yeah, when it comes to Hexylvania, you're going to want to use either melee heroes or short range weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some loadouts that you can use that are good for the short range modifier. Normally what I like to do for every venture season is for the first few missions I'll use a farming loadout just so I can stack up on some materials and resources. And for my farming loadout I have Fossil Southie with the Blast from the Past team perk. And for my support team I have Archaeologist, Prehistoric Isa, Clip, Paleo Luna, and Crossbones Barrett. And I'll usually use this loadout for like the first 4 or 5 missions, or at least until I got enough materials to start doing defense missions. This one's also really good for short range modifier because you can spam heavy attacks on melee weapons with Fossil Southie. So not only is this really good for farming, but it's also pretty good when it comes to melee weapons, which are really good weapons to use for the short range modifier. A really good melee loadout you could use is this one where we have Paleo Luna as our commander with the Blast from the Past team perk. For our support team we have Prehistoric Isa, Triceratops Ramirez, Assassin Sarah, Arlene Isa, and Breakbeat Wildcat. And this is sort of a good melee loadout no matter what melee weapon you get from the vending machine. So yeah, you should be able to deal a lot of damage with this loadout because of that short range modifier. Another loadout I would recommend is a shotgun loadout. So if you're able to get a decent shotgun from the vending machine, you may want to go with Buckshot Raptor as your commander with the Preemptive Strike team perk. For our support team we have Skull Ranger, Birthday Jonesy, Shrapnel Headhunter, Swamp Knight, and Chaos Agent. And again, the reason I would recommend this is because shotguns are really good when it comes to dealing short range damage. So this loadout is going to be even more powerful in Hexylvania. Even though there is a short range modifier, if you're able to get a Xenon bow, I would still recommend using the Stoneheart Pharaoh loadout. And that's the one where we have Blakebeard Stash with our team perk. For our support team we have Rabbit Raider Jonesy, Redline Ramirez, Crossbones Barrett, Blakebeard, and Privateer Height. So if you're able to get a Xenon bow, you could use this loadout. I feel like SMGs are going to be good weapons to use as well. So if you're able to find a decent SMG from the vending machine, you can go with Sledgehammer with the Totally Rockin' Out team perk. And for our support team, we have Mainstage Quinn, Breakbeat Wildcat, Rescue Trooper Ramirez, Swamp Knight, and Chaos Agent. And although you don't really get a benefit from the short range modifier, Constructors will also be useful, especially when it comes to defense missions. The constructor loadout I like to use is the one that has a power-based constructor with the recycling team perk. For our support team we have Thunder Thor, Base Kyle, Bomb Squad Kyle, Electro Pulse Penny, and Ice King. And you could also put Base Kyle as your commander as well. So those are some loadouts I would recommend when it comes to the Hexylvania Venture Zone. Here are all of the rewards you get from the Venture Zone. Everything on the left side are the rewards you get between Venture Level 1 and Venture Level 25. And everything on the right are all of the rewards you get between Venture Level 26 and Venture Level 50. I should point out there's also some other superchargers you can get by completing your Venture challenges. But those are the rewards you get for every Venture level. And I'll leave a link to where I got this image in the description. Next thing they went over was dungeons. Speaking of which, dungeons are always going to be the best way to farm Battle Pass XP and save the world. And to be specific, I believe the Crypts, Inferno, and Lab dungeons are the best dungeons to do because they can be completed very quickly and they give a lot of Battle Pass XP. But yeah, in the home-based status report it says, from tricks and treats to tricks and traps, the dungeons under home base have reopened. Explore all 5 of them to find magical keys, collect gold coins, and take down monsters. Along the way, come across weapons and heroes to add to your collection. The first dungeon is the Mysterious Crypts. Completing the Crypts unlocks the Sweltering Inferno, plus the Secretive Lab dungeon. Complete Inferno to unlock the Grotto, then complete Grotto to unlock Labyrinth. There's 3 heroes you can get as a reward from dungeons. One of them is Swamp Knight, and I would strongly recommend that you try to get him. I use him a lot when I'm doing reviews, and he's really good when it comes to dealing extra damage against mist monsters. His Phantasm's also really good if you use it with the Trick and Treat team perk, so I would strongly recommend getting him. You can also get Mermonster Ken as a reward from dungeons, and I would recommend getting him as well. He's really good if you want to try to increase the damage you deal with melee weapons. And the last hero you can get from dungeons is Chaos Agent. He can be useful if you're using a weapon that reloads a lot, so you may also want to get him as well. And that's all the heroes you get from the dungeon quests. It also says complete dungeons to unlock these nightmarish heroes, candy for llamas and loot, a loading screen, and more. And here's the loading screen they're referring to. So you can also get this as a reward from dungeons. When it comes to dungeons, the best heroes to use are going to be minigun heroes. And the reason you want to use miniguns is because they're really good when it comes to taking out the monoliths. So with that being said, the loadout I would recommend is the one where we use Sub-Commando Jonesy as your commander. If you don't have him, you can use Commando Spitfire. We also got the Happy Holidays team perk. And for our support team, we have Diecast Jonesy, Birthday Ramirez, Birthday Jonesy, Ted, and Fleetfoot Ken. If you don't have Fleetfoot Ken, you could use Archetype Havoc. And another minigun loadout you could use is this same one, but you could swap Sub-Commando Jonesy with Diecast Jonesy. The reason you want to have at least one person using Diecast Jonesy is because his minigun deals more damage, and that's going to help you kill the mist monster a little bit easier at the end of the dungeon. So those are a couple loadouts I would recommend for dungeons. I have done a couple tip videos for dungeons. I'll leave a link to those tip videos in the description. Clipped Nightmare Questline is going to be returning later tonight as well. And it says here, just as Hexylvania is giving off a mysterious energy, a nauseating spell is overtaking Hexylvania. It's in home base's best interest to dispel this curse, so do just that in the Clipped Nightmare Questline. Complete this questline available from September 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern to October 3rd, 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern to unlock the hero Clip. And Clip is pretty much a must-have hero when it comes to any farming loadout. It doesn't matter whether you use her as your commander or in your support team. So yeah, I would strongly recommend that you get her. And again, you'll be able to get her from the Clip's Nightmare questline later tonight. And that questline is going to last until October 3rd. The Dyer's Wolfie Business questline is going to return on September 20th. At 8 p.m. Eastern, and it says here, be on the lookout for a super blood moon. No werewolf can resist. Complete Dyer's Wolfie Business questline to add Dyer to your pack. This questline will be available from September 20th at 8 p.m. until October 17th at 8 p.m. I don't really use Dyer that often. Usually when I do use him, I put him in my support team when I need a little extra speed. But I would still recommend getting him because he's a mythic, for one. So not only are you going to get him, but you'll also get the Hunter's Instinct team perk. And that's the only way you can get this team perk. And like I said, his increased movement speed can be useful for certain situations. But those were the only 2 quest lines they mentioned in the home base status report. Next thing they went over were Fort Nightmare's Llamas. It says the Hexylvania Adventure Season means Fort Nightmare's Llamas. These spine-chilling llamas are filled to the brim with haunted heroes like Kyle the 13th, ghostly weapons like the Night Owl, and survivors in cosplay. Get Fort Nightmare's Llamas by spending candy, which can be earned from completing missions during the Hexylvania Adventure Season. So those Fort Nightmare's Llamas are going to include black metal weapons like the Blackout, the Black Drum, Midnight Stalker, Sniper. It also includes the Night Owl Bow, the Brood Slicer, and it also includes the Nightfall. And black metal weapons are really good when it comes to dealing a lot of damage. We have reviewed all of these weapons. I'll leave a link to those reviews in the description if you'd like to know more about them. When it comes to heroes you can get from Fort Nightmare's Llamas, that includes Gold Trooper Ramirez, Skull Trooper Jonesy. You can also get Brainiac Jonesy, as well as Skull Ranger Ramirez, Cat Structor Penny, Kyle the 13th, Sarah Hotep, Swift Shuriken Lamurai, and you can also get Beetlejuice from the Fort Nightmare's Llamas. And you can also get Cosplay Survivors from the Fort Nightmare's Llamas. And if you're able to get the Lobber, Smasher, and Troll, you can put those in your collection book to get the Jack-o'-Launcher. So that sums up everything you can get from the Fort Nightmare's Llamas. They also went over the new Save the World starter pack, which we've already done a video on. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But here's everything you get from it. You get the skin with this back bling, and you also get this pickaxe. as well as the chance to earn up to 1500 V-Bucks and access to Save the World. They also told us which heroes we can expect to see in the event store over the next couple of weeks. Later tonight, we're going to get Ragnarok in the event store. I haven't really used Ragnarok that much lately, mainly because Seismic Smash has been sort of buggy, but I would still recommend getting him, mainly because he's a mythic. And like with every mythic, you'll also get a team perk with them, and the one you get with Ragnarok is called Slow Your Roll, and this is the only way you can get this team perk. So that's why I would recommend getting him. And again, he'll be available in the event store September 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. As for next week, we're going to get Plague Doctor. He's going to be returning to the event store on September 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't really use Plague Doctor that much either, not even in my support team, mainly because his perks are kind of useless. There's no point in reducing the energy cost per smoke bomb because of how long the cooldown is. By the time it finishes cooling down, you will have already gotten all of your energy back. So he is one of the most useless heroes in Save the World, in my opinion. So if anything, you may just want to get him for your collection book. But he'll be available in the event store next week on September 13th. And as for the following week, on September 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Black Blade's going to be returning to the event store. And it says here, this is a large sword with moderate damage and high impact. With it, you can perform the Leap attack, a heavy attack that jumps to a target area, damaging and knocking down nearby enemies. And it also deals a lot of damage as well. But the main reason I would recommend getting this Black Blade is because of that Leap attack, heavy attack. It's really useful for a lot of different situations. But yeah, we've reviewed the Black Blade as well as Ragnarok and Plague Doctor. I'll leave a link to those reviews in the description if you'd like to know more about them. And the last thing they went over were bug fixes. And they've mentioned these bug fixes in a previous post, but it looks like it went live with today's update. They fixed an issue with the Totally Rockin' Out perk from being triggered again. They fixed an issue where the hero icon and commander perk could disappear when evolving in the hero loadout tab. They fixed an issue where the daily war games was not interactable in the Storm Shield console. The hero loadout gadget slot will now correctly appear after completing Storm Shield Defense 3, and they fixed an issue with the Blizzard Blitzer that caused enemies to freeze on the first hit instead of the 7th. And that sums up everything that was in the home base status report. Before I go, I did want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's been using creator code A1, and just want to say thank you for your support. Also, I do plan on helping people with dungeons and the new Venture Zone on Twitch, so be sure to follow if you haven't already. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.